Good morning. You're listening to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is James Lesslie, the president of Engineered Floors Commercial Business. James, how you doing?
Doing great, Kemp. Good to talk to you.
It's good to talk to you. I've actually run into you a couple of times so far this year. I saw you at the StarNet meeting, and I also saw you at the Fuse meeting back in March. So it's been good to get back with some of those commercial contractors, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was almost like an old high school reunion. You know, you're hugging people you hadn't seen in a couple of years, and it was just good to get face to face. And I felt like both meetings had the most energy of any meetings we've had in literally 4 or 5 years. I think part of that is business too. Business is obviously pretty good right now, so everybody's upbeat. Yeah. Great meetings on both of them.
I want to talk to you about what you're doing with NeoCon. That's just next week in Chicago at the Mart. You're on the 10th floor.
That's correct.
Before we get to that, real quick, just some background on you. You're a lifer in the flooring business. We did a focus on leadership on you back in January of 2016. You're an engineer. Went to University of South Carolina. Actually, at the same time, Tim Balcom was there.
Ironically, we were classmates there. Yes.
Isn't that interesting? And your first job was with Allied Chemical in the fiber business. Then over time, you've been through Queen, and that took you to Shaw when they bought Queen. And then you were at BOU, and now you're at Engineered Floors, right?
That's correct. I'm one of the few people, and there are several, but a lot of people have been not in residential and commercial. I've been blessed to be in both, and both are great businesses.
And you've been on the business side and on the manufacturing side as well, right?
And product. Yeah. As Mr. Shaw jokes, I can't hold a job, so I keep moving around. But yeah, I've kind of touched everything over the years.
So you hit on it a little bit, but tell us how business is at Engineered Floors.
Our commercial business has made a nice recovery. All three of our selling brands, the Main Street brand, Pence, EF Contract, and J&J, are all moving in the right direction. And really in all product categories, broadloom, tile, LVT. And in Kinetics, we've got very strong growth in our Kinetics product this year. I mean, I think the education business being good has really accelerated that business a lot. And we're seeing a lot more penetration of Kinetics into the corporate marketplace.
We just finished our June issue. You'll actually see it in the mail next week, but you can see it online now digitally. And, we talked about the commercial business and how it grew in 21 over 20, about 6%. And yet the hard surface business grew twice as fast as the carpet business, but the carpet business is still 51% on a revenue basis. And a majority of what you sell in the commercial business is on the soft side, right?
That is correct. Our business is very heavily skewed to the soft surface side, although we're having fast growth in our LVT business as everybody is. But for us, it's soft surface, which is going to be Kinetics, carpet tile, and broadloom. And all three of those are doing quite well.
And remind our listeners, Kinetics is a hybrid. It's a textile product, but most people consider it a hard surface product, right?
Yeah, it's really a cross between a hard surface and a soft surface. And it has the wear characteristics of hard surface, but it has a lot of the other features and benefits of soft surface, like traction, slip resistance, and it's a great product for high moisture environments too. So it's a lot of the uses of Kinetics is to solve moisture issues for people on floor issues.
And acoustical as well, right?
Oh, yes. It surprises people that it has better acoustics than carpet because it's so thin, but it's so dense, and density is really what gives you the acoustical value, but it really has great acoustics as well.
One more thing before we move to NeoCon. It's been announced that you've bought a Hemin digital machine, and you're going to start making LVT in Dalton, and you're going to be ramping that up next year, right?
Yes, we have the equipment. It's in various stages of being on order and shipping here, and manufacturing. Building renovations are underway. So we're looking for a startup next year, probably in the first half of the year. But we're excited about that. Now, that facility is going to be a rigid core click facility, the first phase of it.
Okay, so that's mostly on the residential side.
Correct.
So let's talk about NeoCon. It's the first one you've been to in a while. Tell us what you're planning to do there in your space.
First of all, we're just excited to be back. Our team members, associates are just excited to get out and get with customers again. We're going to be showing some new products. We've defined or come up with a new process we call high definition patterning for Kinetics, where it literally can look like almost any surface you want it to look like. And so we're going to show some of those new products. So we're going to be debuting those in the J&J space. And we're going to have, obviously, our other new carpet styles are going to be there and previewed. And we're probably going to have a few surprises in the space of some new stuff that's almost like the prototype cars you see, things of the future, and we're going to let some people see those things and get some feedback on some of those as well.
It's interesting you bring that up because oftentimes the big brands that come to NeoCon are showing prototypes that they actually aren't in running line products yet because they want to get a sense of what A&D thinks about them, right?
Yeah, it's a great way to get some feedback. Now, we're very clear. We're going to have a whole series of collections for both J&J and EF Contract that are ready to go. And our deal is if we show it as a product, our commitment is we want to have it in a book within 3 months. So we don't come with this stuff like, hey, and then it never comes out. You know how that can be sometimes. We don't do that. But on this prototype stuff, it's literally a something of the future. So we say this is not ready, but this is something we'd love your feedback on. So we make a very, very clear distinction on that for our customers so nobody gets confused.
It's good that you're continuing to support the Mart, who's actually the one that brings NeoCon to Chicago. So you're there on the 10th floor with a space and continuing to support that organization, right?
Yeah, the Mart's been a good partner to us, and it's going to be a really interesting year this year to see how NeoCon does. And we're looking forward to, hopefully, we're going to have great traffic.
We mentioned StarNet just a minute ago. There was Alan Beaulieu with ITR Economics, and he actually gave an optimistic perspective on what we're going to see in the commercial market, or what he calls the non-residential market for the next year and a half or so. It was pretty optimistic, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of the dealers at StarNet came away feeling good, going, I sure hope he's right. Okay, I mean, and that's certainly our feeling too. Our business is good right now. Our backlog is pretty good, but everybody is nervous about, with gas going up every week. But there is some thought that if this is a recession, and I don't think that will be this 2 quarters, but that this will be what they call a soft or a technical recession. Because I've never, in my career, I've never seen a recession where we still don't have enough employees. So how do you have a recession when there's not going to be massive layoffs? Those kind of go counter. So I think if we have a recession, it might be what they call a technical recession, or at least that's what Alan was saying. And if that's the case, business may still be kind of okay, even though we are in a, quote, recession.
Especially on the commercial side.
Obviously, our residential business, and this is no secret, I think residential retail has been more impacted than commercial this year. Gas has a much bigger impact on discretionary income in the consumer residential market than some of the stuff going on in the commercial space. So commercial this year has fared much better than residential, and that's not just us, that's the industry. The industry numbers say the same thing.
All right, James, well, appreciate you updating our listeners on what's going on with Engineered Floors commercial business. We've been talking to James Lesslie, one of the smartest guys in the business, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.